Don't do it, George. Don't do it. Hey. Stop. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the show. Happy Wednesday. So, George is over there at the desk, and you can see him over here. He's thinking that he's going to join us today by destroying all of my paper. I'm noticing. Well, there's that. So, I'm not 100% sure why OBS is not playing the audio for my opening and closing credits, but OBS is not playing the audio for my opening and closing credits. So there's that. I've got my new rig here. Now I've got a monitor up here, and I've got a monitor that I draw on right here, and then I've got a monitor here. Yesterday, you guys all saw me putting this all together. So now we're all set up, and we're ready to start working, and I've got all of the stuff kind of rigged here, and I feel kind of like there's still a little bit of a lighting issue in here. It's a little dark in there, so I might have to adjust some of my lights. It is indeed George's office, and I don't know why I think otherwise. But I guess we'll have to do warm-ups with George. So do not destroy stuff. So we will switch over there and do warm-ups with George. George, you're on camera destroying things. I'm just saying. Okay. Very good. Now I turned on this camera's microphone, so it should be a little easier to hear me. And the other thing is that the camera, yeah, see, all of your little feetsies are nearby. So this is my father's scale. While I was down there, I got, I guess that's this way. No, it's correct. This way. This is my father's scale that he got in West Germany. Yeah, back in the day. Yeah, it smells like my father's house, doesn't it? He's like, I really must explore this. Yeah, yes, yeah, there you go. He really needs to see and understand. Yeah. And George is who George is. Are you licking the scale? Could you not lick the scale, please? It's a scale. Yeah, that's a camera. Okay, now we warm up usually by drawing a few lines. So we're going to draw a couple of lines here, short lines. Like that, and a couple of long lines that involve a cat's paw. That's an episode of Star Trek. And I didn't actually bring my fancy gauges. So if you don't have fancy gauges, you can use something like this, right? It could be a coffee cup, anything you want, right? Because if you're just trying to draw circles, it doesn't matter what the story is or how it goes here. You know, you're making this difficult for them to see things. I'm just saying. Okay. The other thing we've got to remember to do is to put a beginning and an ending in here. So we could draw between those two lines like this. You're making this really hard. There's a lot of cat ear in this particular issue of, no, don't bite the main line. Okay. Now, I just use a number or a 04 pen. It's just a standard inking pen. I can use any one I want of this sort. This is the one I like. And all you're going to do is draw 5 of these. 1, and you want to keep your elbow off the table and your wrist off the table. 2, 3, 4, 5. Same thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you're going to go from this point to this point, and the key here is to look here. Don't look here. Don't look at the tip. Look at your destination. Start here and you look there. You start here and you look there. Okay, we'll do the long ones. And same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same thing here. 1. Ooh, wow, I'm way offline. 2, 3, 4, 5. Find this interesting. I managed to miss this section of the line all the time. That was kind of cool. Who knew? Okay. Now we're going to go around the circle here. Like that. Same thing here. Like that. And then, as we often do, we have to remember to date this. It is the 24th. There we go, guys. And that's done. We'll switch back to the main camera over here. Okay, so that's a basic warm-up. For those of you who are wondering, why would we basic warm-up? Why do we do that every day? Loosen up the wrist, loosen up the elbow, get us into sort of the practice of doing this. It is not supposed to be about being perfect. It's not supposed to be about, following the line. The lines exactly. It's just trying to get us warmed up. All right. Now, that's not the one we want. This is now we're working on illustration 8 for Airship 27. The last time we were here, the last time we had this, we spent an hour on this particular one, working on where we were going to be on the sketch. So we just did the sketch here, the blue line sketch. I wasn't sure whether that blue line sketch was good or not, and I'm still not 100% sure, but we're going to give it a shot and see if we can't recover it and sort of rescue the sketch a little here. I'm also going to pull some of these things out of here because we've got a lot of bits and pieces and widgets. Put it right there. Things that probably ought not to be right here. So we're going to pull those out. We got cables going all over the place because this is the near side of the computer. This is the back of the computer right here. So we've got a lot of kind of wires and things that end up right here. And it's right by my drawing side. So it's probably not what I want to do. There is still construction materials everywhere too. All right. So we've got, I usually carry the XP XP Pen 22E comes with 2 pins, and neither one of them were plugged in. So I'm going to plug one in and let it charge. And take the other one, make sure that it's solid. Looks like it is solid. So we have control. Okay. Now I'm going to go in here and get my blue pencil. And we're going to work on this sketch a little bit. But first, let's clean this monitor. Can't believe it's gathered so much dust. I always sort of say I can't believe it's gathered so much dust. It seems to be an ongoing trend with me. So, Brent, I don't know if you can, I don't know if you're able to get to the keyboard. I know you were there for a little while ago. But do I sound solid? Do I sound okay? I've got a new position for the microphone, and you can kind of see it right here. So I'm making sure that you can hear me. I am noticing that the microphone continues to try to bend in a way. I don't know. It doesn't want to bend towards me. It's the weight of the microphone is pulling the hinge down. So ultimately, the microphone goes from here, which is great, to here. That's the nature of it. So, and this arm is relatively, I mean, it's been doing work for a while. Where'd you go, George? You were here just a second ago. So I don't know if you're able to respond well or not, but I'm hoping I'm not too loud, or I see I kind of spike a little bit. I'm going to bring that down just a hair. I'm going to leave that there and bring us down just a hair like this. There we go. That's what I really want, because I should be, you know, like, good. Well, maybe I'm just fussing. All right, let's get to work. So I'm now working kind of on this general face area here. I want to kind of, the character is, you know, threatening the our hero here. So we're going to zoom into this face and we're going to work on it a little bit. Okay, and she's crazy. And so when people are crazy, they open their eyes more than they mean to. So they get the, you know, sort of thing. So I want to make sure I've kind of got that going for us here. This crazy eyes open a lot more than you expect. Like so. Huh. So I'm looking over, by the way, as a side note, looking over on the side here, I see that there are two posts that you posted before the overlay got here. This overlay right here. And you were asking, stop what? And I assumed that I was trying to figure out what's going on with the audio for my opening and ending credits. OBS apparently seems to have, when you run the audio, when you run a video, it's on, I'm using this now as virtual camera mode. You know what we're missing, though? We're missing music. Let's load the music. You know what you do is not do that. There, we're going to do it here. There. That should be better. Yeah, stop talking to George. Okay, getting back to work over here. I'm a little scatterbrained today, apparently. All right, putting the ear in there. And what we've got here is we're just going to she's got her hair in kind of braids and maybe sort of like she's got beads on them. So we'll wrap this around. So yeah, I was noticing that the opening and ending credits have no audio. And I don't know, or at least I can't tell if they have. Yeah, Pantera. We were going to do Pantera, but then I didn't get the rights. So, you know. So it's going to be the same music it always is. Although I should get more of this music so it can randomly do a couple of other things while it's at it. I'm sure people are getting kind of entertainingly bored of the same old, same old. Oh well. AC/DC and Pantera. You know how much trouble we could get into by just playing AC/DC? And all of a sudden, YouTube would figure that out and go, well, wait a minute. What was it that I heard somebody, they've been playing Disney music at protests and things like that, because if you do, then when you're filming the music, or when you film the protest, the music is then copyrighted and pulled. I thought that was clever and somewhat disturbing. So it's like, nah, effective. So here we go. Here we go. Just like that. Okay. We're going to put in these little bead things. I've got to line them up. Now, her eyes are not at this level, so these beads have to be at the same dropped level. Otherwise, they won't look right. There we go. Now, what I had done here was I had enlarged this hand and gun so that it was bigger and looked a little bit more imposing and a little less flat. So give her some muscle here. There we go, just like this. There we go. Now, we got to look at this weapon in the context of the other weapon here. So if we start drawing lines like this and heads back to a vanishing point like so. So any kind of box here is going to have to match up with sort of the box going along here. Right? So we're going to put this, put the trigger housing in here. Like so. And I'm going to have to figure out what kind of critter is this gun. You know what I mean? What kind of critter is it? This is some kind of plasma weapon. The book is a sort of a sci-fi steampunk sort of book. And so kind of looking at this and thinking, well, I've got this interesting shape inside here that I find fascinating, right? Where it looks like there's a barrel inside here, inside another casing. So I've cut the barrel so that it's at an angle. Yeah, plasma volt or plasma arc. But then I put this other sort of structure over it, which I think would be kind of cool if it kind of did, this number. Some kind of, not necessarily some kind of flash suppressor, but maybe it is kind of a flash suppressor, which kind of goes up and over like this. You can see it kind of going down like that on the other side and goes under sort of like this. Maybe this is an intercooler of some sort. It's anything could happen with this guy. But I want it to look space agey. Hey, Donald. It's good to see you today. Yeah, it's a plasma bolt, plasma arc, plasma gun of some sort. So, some kind of plasma slinger. All right, so we'll do that. And then we'll, just so that I don't forget, because I'll forget, and I'll just color these in, and then I'll regret life. I'll regret my choices. Oop, 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 oop. That's why I regret my choices. All right. Like this. There we go. I loved those. Those were so cool. And I don't know, there was some other movies where they had some kind of super powerful gun and it did the same thing. The flash came out all three sides, like and for some reason that felt so much meaner and amazinger, and you know what I mean? It was kind of like, but the noise that the Guns and Logan's Run made were also interesting because they didn't make a bang. They made sort of an electric zzz sort of noise, which sounded more like a hiss. And that made it meaner for some reason. It sounded meaner. I don't know why, but it certainly did. I feel like our little flash suppressor here should be angled. Like so. The front is angled, and so I like the idea. This part's angled out more. And the barrel is angled. See you later, Donald. It was good to have you here for a few minutes. We'll see you later. We'll be here if you need us. Okay, so I'm just going to put the back on here. And remember that this is a hook, so you can hang it up on the gun rack. No, I don't know. All right, we'll put knobby things on the back. If you ever ask, and then we've got converging tangents. You know how I hate converging tangents, so we'll move that back. And that looks like some kind of mean weapon, doesn't it? And put this down a little so that it doesn't have a converging tangent. All right. Well, you're over there where the camera was. Okay, as long as you're not causing problems. Just saying. George is in an extra exploratory mood today. He's all over the place trying to figure out what's going on. So we're going to come down the other side here. There. So that definitely looks like some kind of space Aegean pistol there. The other arm here, I have her holding her scimitar. In the scene, she shoots the guy with the plasma gun and that has no effect because the guy is special. So then she decides to draw the scimitar. So I'm trying to decide whether, because this scene doesn't actually depict that. She throws the gun aside, then draws her scimitar. So I'm kind of wondering whether I shouldn't just put her arm on her hip and, this is the scene prior to, where she's threatening him, as opposed to doing this scene where she has already threatened him and it did not work, so she decides to draw her scimitar. And maybe that's what I should do. Put her scimitar, right here. Right? Plasma guns should have some kind of cooling vent system. They're plasma guns. They're running plasma. We're already kind of at a superheated sort of state anyway, right? And we'll do this just to make sure you understand that that's a barrel. So, perfect. We've got that kind of going for us. So, I think I actually may want to redraft sort of this section here. And maybe I want to put her arm akimbo instead. So put her arm out here. And maybe I'll actually put her scimitar right here. And she's got her hand resting on it. And that may be what we want to do. Right? So she's preparing to draw her scimitar. Right? So put her arm akimbo. And this will just depict the scene just prior. And that's one of the things that's been bugging me about this piece since the beginning, is I felt like it was depicting two different scenes in one picture. And I didn't want to, and I felt like I was kind of trying to serve two scenes of the story when one would have sufficed. Right? We put her arm akimbo there, which is what this is when you put your hands on your hips. It's called arms akimbo. We'll put her arm akimbo, and then we will put the scimitar in here, going the other direction, so that when she's got her hand on it, and she's got her other hand holding the pistol, she can just throw the pistol aside and grab her scimitar. That's the next step, so to speak. So I feel like that's better. I like this better. We'll come up with more of a sort of setup for this in a second. So let's go ahead and put in her shirt. Give the shirt some wrinkles. And sort of kind of go along this side here. Uh-oh, one of my streams is starting to drop, looks like. I don't know which stream is dropping. Let's check. Let's see. Shall we? I see everything seems to be okay. I don't know where I can check my stream connectivity. It looks like all the streams are still running. Yeah. I mean, I see it turning red, like my internet or my network connectivity says 10 of 10, but then every so often it says, oh, it says 0 of 10 every so often. So I guess I must be dropping intermittently to all streams. And that sounds like that's just par for the course in this neighborhood. Okay, so we're going to continue on here. And one of the things I'm also noticing is, let's talk a little bit about her action line on this, right? Because we talk often about action lines. The action line on this seems to go like that, right? We've got it through her leg like this. And I'm kind of feeling a little uncomfortable about this part of the action line specifically, because I feel like that should be over more. So we're going to try to see what we can do by taking the lasso tool and pulling this part over. And can we do so? Distort it a little, transform, we'll distort. Using a distort, we can do this, right? We can move it. And then we hit OK. Right? When we do this, we get kind of a better action line going out of it. Does this make sense kind of here? It does mean we're going to have to move this part of her chest over too, because that ended up being kind of wonky and funky as well. But that's not that big of a deal, right? You kind of do this number there. But I'm going after sort of a better action line on this. And now the action line seems to be very clear like that, right? So that's a much, much better action line. So there we go. All righty. So let's clean up the arm here. Her arm that is akimbo. Like that. Okay. I always say that I'm somewhat allergic to shows, but I think it's really the dust. Give me just a moment, please. I'm definitely allergic to dust, and I know that I'm allergic to dust, and I wonder if, because every morning I do the show, and it seems like I start to get all clogged up and stuffed up in my nose while doing the show every day. And I don't know if it has something to do with the fact that the monitor picks up dust. I'm getting dust from the output of my computer, which is right here. I don't know what the story is, but I seem to have, and maybe it's just the time of year. I don't know. But either way, we are back to work. Back to work. All right. So you can see now that we have deviated quite a bit from the original design. So that's one of the reasons why, even if you use 3D models to make one step easier, you have to always go back and fix and respect your drawings. There are all kinds of things that we have to work on. For example, a human who is not wearing any clothing this isn't connected, but when you wear pants, it actually all connects into one unit, and then you get the wrinkles that go across the pants like that. So we have to fix that. It's going to be different because my 3D model, of course, wasn't wearing any clothes, because there's no point in that. So that's one of the reasons why artists often have to work on folds and clothes, and they don't start on that because that becomes sort of a difficult, complicated thing. Folds are hard to figure out where they go, when they go, what's the stress point. And when we have to draw the wrinkles and things like that, we have to know that there's going to be stress points in the wrinkles of our clothing based mostly on the experience of just knowing how clothes fold. I'm going to give her, like the other pirates that we had in here before, they were piratey pirates, and so I'm going to give her the same sort of wrap that goes around her. These are sea pirates, so humans are very comfortable at sea as far as clothing goes. So at least we don't have to put her in heavy coats or anything like that. Ooh, I picked a pin. Didn't mean. There we go. With wraps and things like this, you'll end up with twists and turns that go with the fabric, the fold of the fabric, but it always has to drape down. Like that. There we go. Now the fabric is not solid up here, so we want to make sure it goes into this knot and comes out of it in a sort of firm way. There we go, kind of like so. There we go. They could be Viking type of pirates, but the Vikings are northern pirates, and I got the impression from the book that this was Pacific, the sort of the Pacific-esque location on Earth. Definitely, I've got her buffed up. She's not a wimp. We're putting in a lot of musculature on her. Right? I'm going ahead and defining all of these parts of her. Give her her bicep and her triceps. And she's no wimp. Even though she's strong, women carry fat distributed amongst all of their body. So unless she has starved herself, we don't see as much definition in muscles as we do with men. Men carry all their fat, as you're probably all well aware, right here in the middle. So there is when drawing women, even when they are buff, they're still going to be softer because they still have the fat is distributed amongst their bodies inside the musculature or on top of the musculature. So even when you have women who are super muscly, they're still going to be softer and rounder. Women bodybuilders actually have to starve themselves for a while, and they don't drink water so that the fat level goes down to give extra definition. There we go. Getting this hand in here, right? And I'm just defining the blocks that make up this hand. There we go. There. All right. So this is more of a struggle going in here. Now we're going to head on up and get into a little bit more detail work. I bounce around from section to section intentionally. It keeps me from getting too focused on one particular section. Now, I like the idea that, I mean, she could have eyebrows that kind of go down like this. But I like the idea, maybe she's not quite as obviously evil, right? You know, if you do eyebrows that are like this, you know, she's obviously evil. You know, that said, it does kind of look cool. So we may come back to that. Let's go ahead and discuss her lips here. Move those over. All right. I specifically gave her extra canines. And the reason for that is because when it's an anime trope, and evil people have canines. It's such a trope of anime, and I admit it openly, but you know, that's just a trope. You get the canines if you're evil. And it's not just evil, it's like playful. Like, you don't necessarily get the canines because you're just, you know, only evil people. You'll get the playful characters, get the, you know, like they're just screwing around with you. They'll get the canines too. It's a manga-esque thing, but it looks good on her. So we're going to do that. Okay. come up here, work on her hair. And making it so that she's, she's got sort of this chaotic hair going for her. It's curly. Salt water is not doing her any good. But here's our hero, and he actually is going to have hair that does this. And it's spiky because our hero is like really spiky haired and stuff like that. So we're going to do that. All right. And now we're moving up to the point where this is looking pretty good. I'm starting to like the look and the feel of this. There we go. And put in some of these folds, and then I'm going to make our pants fold like so. We got those folds going in. And hey, Richard, how you doing? My friend, good to see you. So I'm gonna clean up some of these lines here, kind of going around like so. So here we go. There. I'm trying to decide though. I mean, if you look at where this guy is, we'll add a layer on here, and we'll go for this, and we'll go over here. We're going to have a line that kind of looks like that. It's a scimitar. So knowing that this is a scimitar blade, we kind of want to make sure that we have, because the scimitar is a curved weapon. The blade is curved. And it depends on how she draws it as to whether it's curved this way or curved this way. It's probably likely curved this way. The same way as we do with our katanas, because you reach over like this to grab here and then draw. So we probably want to discuss how we're working on the hilt of that scimitar and where it's going and how it's coming out the bottom here. So I'm going to take my red line and I'm going to drop it down so that I'm not disturbing anything. We're going to talk about the katana, or the scimitar's blade being here with a blood gutter, right? That's all right, Richard. You can do whatever you want, man. It's good. I'm here. You're there. We're good. So, yeah, I'm glad to have you anytime. Anytime you can hang out with me, that's awesome. So I'm going to turn the scimitar's hilt the other direction. This is what we're going to do here. We got the scimitar coming out the back there. Now I feel like I can turn the guide off there. And this is good too, because I feel like the scimitar might have a very elegant like most pirate weapons, some kind of elegant wrapping to it. And we may actually put something on the end. That's cool. And sadly, I'm very sorry about this, man. I've decided to move my show forward 1 hour, so it's 9 to 11 now, because it seems like that worked better. There are a couple of things. I'm usually back from dropping my kid off from school at 8. And that gives me an hour to come in here, decide what I'm going to do, set something up, turn on all the lights, get everything kind of rigged. And before, it was 2 hours. And I noticed that in the second hour was when I would get onto social media and start arguing with people. So, for my sanity, I've moved this forward 1 hour. Hopefully it'll keep me off of social media. It's not worth it. I keep telling myself that, and I keep getting back on there anyway. So there we go. She's got a very katana-esque scimitar. But I mean, honestly, I know how to draw katanas. I'm not really that good with scimitars. And it's the future. And so, in the future, we maybe have katana-esque scimitars. And that's okay. So there we go. So now we've got going on here is we've got kind of everything moving along here. The only thing I'm worried about now is that I want to move this way a little. Sort of like that. Because the camera angle is up. And that means no matter what, we're going to be looking at sort of the bottom side of her crotch area, which I know that's kind of embarrassing. But, we are drawing human beings, and it means you have to draw them accurately. Otherwise, people look at them and go, what did you do wrong? So they'll know you did something wrong, but they won't know what, because that's misleading it into looking like it's flat and not like the bottom looking up at that part of her body. So, didn't know that we were going to have a show today that was going to detail about the underside of the crotch. But hey, you never know what'll happen in this show. On the plus side, not likely to have lots of blood and guts going on, if that helps any. In my opinion, I'm kid safe. So, okay, we're moving along here like that. I'm going to get rid of this fold. That fold doesn't look like it fits. Okay, so because we want this to follow these lines or those lines. There we go. Now I need to decide whether she's going to trying to also decide whether that gun is still big enough, even still. Like, I feel like it's still not threatening enough. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like I still want to enlarge it a little bit more, embiggenate. So let's take the lasso tool. We're going to take just the gun section here. Because, I mean, I really want this to feel like we are doing stuff with it, right? So if we do this, it becomes much more threatening. And it feels like that's a better location, right? That's a much better location. So we're going to go ahead and repair her. And that's threatening. I mean, that looks really threatening there. There we go. Make sure we've got that going for her here. Kind of have to bring her the size of her fingers down a little, because now she's starting to look not quite. She's losing some of her feminine qualities. Looking like the musculature is getting kind of big and stuff. But I like now the look of the gun. It looks big and imposing and in his face. Like, this isn't going to end well. The other thing is, she's a pirate. So I kind of feel like pirates like to do things, dress up their weapons, dress up various, they like to dress them up. So I feel like our plasma pistol here needs to be dressier, needs to dress for the occasion. I also want to pull this line down here. There we go. Perfect. Just like this. There we go. And big and neat. All right. Make sure it's actually attached to the hold in the back of the weapon here. There we go. Do this, and then we'll come along like that. This will give it just some interesting shape, so it doesn't just look like it's and make this kind of go like this. Match this trigger guard down here. That way the trigger guard kind of comes out like this. A little bit like that. There we go. And gives it just a little bit of, it looks cool, It doesn't look. Trim that down there. Uh-oh, it's time to take a quick break, guys. I'm going to finish this real quick before we take a quick break. And all right. There. All right. We will go back to the other thing that, by the way, this setup affords me is the ability. Is my mouse. There's my mouse. It affords me the ability to actually directly see what's being broadcast. So, okay, guys, it's quick break time. Stand up. Oh, yeah. And stretch. Go ahead and stretch. Bend over to these sides. Either side. Stretch everything out. Shake out your hands. You should get up every hour and move. Let's walk around real quick. We'll walk over here. We'll walk over here. We'll look out the window. Yeah, it looks like the roads are getting better out there, which is good. I see some blue in the sky, also good. I've got a photo shoot right after this is over where I got to go take pictures. So I'm glad to hear or glad to see that things are getting better out there. Certainly. So things are getting better. Weather's getting better. That's nice. Feel like my little cubby hole was brighter. I mean, now that I've got a monitor right here, it blocks a lot of the incoming light. I do have a ring light right here, which you can kind of see looking right at it. And I have a light with the camera there, but I've made both of these lights indirect, so they're no longer directly aiming at me. So that's a little different. I don't know. It doesn't seem bad. And maybe I just kind of need to get used to the more cozy feel of this, or turn this yellow light that has been yellow for a very long time onto full white and have it aimed this way into this cubby hole, which is possible. I have another light right here. There used to be two lights on either side of the camera. I feel like I'm talking about an aircraft. There's exits at the back of the aircraft and on either side over the wings. Please be aware of the exits that are closest to you. So there we go. But I don't know. I'm going to have to kind of mess with the lighting a little, I think. I feel like I haven't. Because, of course, the two lights that are here are controlled LEDs. I can make them any color I want, just like these lights there. Right. Whoa. No. Here and here. And actually, this light over here and the one that's directly behind me right there, which is blue. Those lights are specifically turned multiple colors because I'm a Star Trek fan. And that's the way that kind of goes. So let's go back to the monitor and let's get back to work. And see, I can see this now. This is so exciting. This particular monitor strut thing that's holding this one is a wall-mounted monitor. And it's got 3 massive lag bolts that go right into the stud on the other side there. I was like, well, at least it's not coming down, which is good because this monitor is now, like the sword of Damocles is just dangling over my drawing monitor. So I'm kind of glad that it's solid and not going anywhere. All right. Okay, let's take a look at where we are now on this. She's got crazy hair, crazy lady hair. Her hair is as crazy as she is. Now, the next question is, I know that the back of her head is in this area right here. Should I be putting some kind of bandana on her? That makes her look interesting and cooler and more piratey. Right? Also kind of makes her look like Rambo. Maybe I'm not as happy about this. But I do feel like her hair is not too wild. Like, not reasonable. I'm going to real quickly bring up the book. And let's see what the book says about what she looks like. The lookbook. So, going to take a look at this. Bring it up. Aha! Two things that are important. One, she is wearing goggles, which I think the original picture sort of was supposed to depict, and I didn't. So she's wearing goggles. And that's an important thing. And they're broken. Goggles on. And that will help a little because I knew I felt like she needed something on her head. There we go. Pull the hair out on this side. I won't get this. Actually, let's put this straight up on her head like this. There we go. So one of these goggle plates is going to be right above this eye, and the other one is going to be right above this eye, like you'd imagine. And then we're going to make it bigger. All right. Problem is that this has taken long enough that I have forgotten a lot of the plot and story on this. There we go. Let's get this working here. Okay. The other important thing is that this lens is mechanical. So we're going to have to draw the digits as mechanical pieces. Which is not an issue. You just have to remember to do it. There we go. And the clockwork fingers to go with this. And then I don't have to work as much on the shaping of this. Right? Okay. To the description of this character. Three claw-like metal fingers. Okay, and an opposable thumb. So she's only got 3 fingers. I'm glad I'm going back and checking this. Like I said, it had been just long enough. And it says claw-like, so I'm going to go for this. As a descriptor, it says claw-like. So let's go for these, like so. There we go. There we go, just like that. And the whole arm is mechanical, so we're going to go on ahead and depict that as well. There we go. Cup and torso strapping that held it tight to her stump and shoulder. Word and clicked. The arm straightened, and its superior strength swung her up and boosted her over the side to land on her feet like a cat. So it is strong and powerful. We'll go ahead and you're not going to see much of it over here on this side, but you will see parts of it like this. So let's go on ahead and depict that. Getting some scroll work on it. That seems like a thing. I'm about scroll work. Probably has a lot to do with being a fan of Battle Angel Alita. There we go. So maybe we'll also put like a governing line out to one side and maybe on the inside as well. There we go. Okay. And I am looking to see where we've got. We're looking up where we're going with this character. So she is wearing actually a full helmet. That's a story because it's not just the goggles. It's a full helmet. So we're going to go on ahead and bring that forward and make it into a helmet, which we can then, I feel like I keep looking at this, the reading the scene, and every time I read the scene, it reads differently. Like I've forgotten a lot of what's going on. It's this is always the case when you have something that's taking a long time to. Usually, I would have written an extensive amount of notes on what each one of these characters look like. And I didn't this time because I sort of was working on this on a sort of taking up bits and pieces of this at a time. So I took this particular task from Ron Fortier while I was sort of in this hiatus. I wasn't starting commission work yet. And so I'm trying to figure out whether she's got, trying to decide, I'm rereading this entire scene and kind of trying to decide what her helmet looks like. So, maintenance, surprise. Okay. There we go. We're just breaking the goggles here. There we go. We're just going to sort of, we'll give some of the glass, but then we'll just take most of the glass and just break it out. Look at this. There. So her goggles now are broken. And I feel like these are hinged in some way to her helmet. Like so. One of the hallmarks of steampunk is that it's that same elegance that we had at the very beginning of the Industrial Revolution, which had still the elegance of design of the Victorian era. So when you do steampunk pieces, you kind of want to make sure that you're making it elegant. The drawings are elegant and things are elegant. Like her helmet here should have a certain amount of flair to it, and maybe even literally flair. Spelled differently. I'll even give her helmet here has to have sort of a small amount of going on. Kind of give it a little bit of its flare kind of coming out like that. She's definitely wearing something that's helmety here. I'm going to bring this around like this and flare it out. Now, you probably noticed why is it not saving? I think my keys may have changed. No, it saved. I just saved it very, very, very fast. Okay. Now, when we look at the curve here of this helmet right here, it's actually coming down a slight amount here because we're at an angle. So in order for it to come level with us when we're at an angle like this, it has to actually be down in real life. So that means I'm going to make sure that this side comes down to sort of illustrate that. So we're going to flare out and come down. There we go. So we are doing that, and we're coming around like so. I'm going to still bring a lot of her hair out from underneath it. At this point in the story, she's been tootling around the ship, doing all kinds of, horrible things, and all's been good. And so I'm really liking the picture and where we are. Right, we're getting much closer to what we're looking for on this particular piece. I feel hand is probably too beefy for what we're looking for here. We're going to be, and the angle we have chosen to be at is different now. At us at had the weapon more like this, and we've moved it now to more like this. So we're actually going to be seeing much of the front face of the hand than the 3D part of the hand in the upper arm. So we want to make sure we sort of correct the anatomy on this, because we're going to do. So we're going to bring this around like so, correct these. And then we'll go like so, because we're now going more out of that. And that's going to look a lot better, right? We're going to have to also go in on the underside here, because we're underneath this hand a lot more now. We're going to do this. I'm going to do this. And we're now more in front of this hand than we were before. So we're going to cut these fingers back around to curl around this more. All right, so let's discuss, where is this hand's fingers? Where are the fingers anyway? Does anybody know where these fingers are? Who's moved the fingers? So we're going to have to discuss the way it's around the trigger guard. And indeed, this part of her finger hand combo is now more like so. I didn't mean to get a pen, but that's all right. It'll work. Right, and her thumb is on the other side now. So this is where her finger should be. This finger. I'm lagging. So, okay. So when we're holding a weapon, the finger comes up into the trigger guard and it runs upward. It doesn't run straight, it runs upward. So we're going to have to make sure we've got that upward gate going for the finger there, because it's going up into the trigger housing. And I can even curl her finger back. I assume she is crazy enough that there is no trigger discipline here. We are crazy and insane. So, besides, she has absolutely every intention of shooting the hero here. Right, so let's talk about the other fingers. We got another finger here, another finger here, and then the pinky bends down. So it'll start to bend down. All of the fingers start to angle down. So what part of me is lagging there, Brent? Are we lagging in the picture department, or is my mouth moving and then later on making noise? What's going on here? So there we go. We're going to do this. One, two, and then three. And we'll come back in, and so you can see how long we're spending on this finger placement thing. And this is the reason why I use 3D. It's already taken us nearly 15 minutes just to redraw these fingers and not make them look like Muppet fingers, which they look like right now. Audio and video at the same time. Wow. It does look like I've had like intermittent red lights over here on the network connection. So I think I'm getting sometimes lag, sometimes not. I don't know what's going on here. All right. We're going to bring this back like so. This is going to take some work. The hand is almost always, hands are really hard for people, but hands in unique and strange designs are particularly difficult. The hand here is going to be a box that looks like so. Right? If we look at it from the point of view of the gun, we're going to have a finger here, which moves back, and then a finger here, which moves back, and then a finger here, which moves back, and then the trigger finger move like this, which is then going to be like so. And this is why we're having a problem seeing this, is because I'm not following my own line work. And then there will be a slight bump right here, which indicates over like so. Right, and then this is the box of the gun, which goes like that. So let's follow this. Okay, we're going to go back through, and actually I'm just going to go on ahead and erase everything but the guide. And see that the guide is a much better hand. But even then, looking at it from here, it's probably not exactly the same as it would be if we were looking at this hand from here-ish. I think, because it is up, though. Yeah, we're looking up-ish. So let's go back in with red. And let's get back onto the red line here. Let's fix this box, because the box should be more like so. Which means we're going to get the underside of this. And then more like so. So going back through and checking the red. There we go. More like that. And maybe more on the top side of this hand. Right? That's much better. Much more reasonable. We're going to the bottom side of this hand more because it's coming around the bottom of the weapon like that. And bring the top side of the weapon or top side of the hand there like so. Now let's go fix it. So I'm going to probably call a break here in just a little bit because that's my stepmom calling. And I'm not sure whether that's a call in for my father or not, because you all know that my father has not been doing well. So I have to get my calls with my stepmom when I can and see what's going on with my dad and find out what's happening there. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to come around. So we're going to finish this blue line right here. Take a look then at our hand. It still looks kind of beefy. We're going to have to trim it down a little, but I feel like we're getting much closer to where we want to be on this. So we'll do that. Family first. Yeah, well, we'll do what we can here. Now, once I take those 3 lines away, it looks better. And that's probably because from where the angle is, these are the knuckles, right? So we're going to mark the knuckles here just to mark them, show that they exist. And that looks a whole lot more like what we're looking for, right? Oops, let's not move the thing. Let's move this thing. Move that thing. No, the other. Okay, so I feel like this blue line work is coming along really nicely. It doesn't say Control Save anymore. All I've got is the little icon up here that says that it's saving. It's kind of sad because it used to say down here Control S, like it identified what trigger I have done. So we're going to continue on with this guy tomorrow. We're going to be working on that too. So that's where we are on this. I still feel like looking at the picture, I want to kind of work a little bit more on, like, the goggles don't seem exactly straight. Want to make sure that the hand is clear and nice. I'm very happy with the guy in the foreground. He's doing fine. I don't need to really work very much on that, but I'll give that a work up here. But I do like the action line on this and things like that. So we're going to do a little bit of work on straightening up the helmet and the goggles so that they fit the action line, because they're fitting her, but they're not fitting the action line. So I'm going to work that, and we'll start tomorrow on that one. So I'm going to cut 30 minutes early only because that my stepmom called, and I have to leave here at 11 to go to a photo shoot, which is what I'm going to do next. So I will see you all tomorrow at the same time. And in the meantime, always remember to keep your eyes on the stars. See you tomorrow. Bye.